In Kentucky, we don't just take chances, we bet big. This month, I'm sitting down with 4 Kentuckians who made 4 bold moves and asking one question: what was the biggest bet that you ever took on yourself? This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Town & Country Ford. No matter where life's adventures lead you, Town & Country Ford is along for the ride. What were some that you looked at and you're like, I want to be that and I want to be bigger?
We didn't necessarily set out to be better than them, but we wanted to be mentioned with them.
I feel like you all have many celebrations, but in this one, we want to raise a glass to you.
Because if they're doing a good job, we want people to know about them.
How you all came up this, hey, let's do this Watchill proper.
So our initial idea was that we were going to buy a house.
My next guests on the podcast, Josh Howes and Tommy Craggs. They are the co-owners of Watchill proper, one of the largest American whiskey bars in the entire United States. Now you can add to that title a James Beard semifinalist for Best Bar in America, which is huge. Guys, it's great to have you on here.
Thanks.
You know, is that shocking to have that added now, that a James Beard semifinalist?
I've said since we got it that we always wanted, we had that in our sights to get a James Beard, but it wasn't for outstanding bar. We wanted Chef, Michael Crouch. Yeah. We figured he'd get one.
Chewing. And
then we wanted one for our service, because we feel like our service is second to none as far as inside the restaurant. But then we also didn't figure we'd get it this soon, because we're not even 4 years old yet. So we figured, we'd chase after it in those 2 categories at some point, but it was announced and we were like,
okay,
where'd this come from? And who did this and how'd that happen? Because, it was kind of unexpected. We weren't chasing it yet.
It's such a testament to kind of the wild idea that you had, right? To be the largest American whiskey bar, to be on par with some of the best places in Chicago. Kind of take me back to 2022, how you all met and how you all came up with this, hey, let's do this Watchill proper and let's do it big and and you've done it every step of the way. How did this crazy idea come together?
We were bleacher dads. We knew each other before, but we were bleacher dads. We used to watch our kids play baseball. And Josh is an engineer by trade, has an engineering firm here, and I was at Heaven Hill. Occasionally he may bring some of his clients down to Heaven Hill, show them kind of behind the scenes tour, whatever. I was in the business. I think Josh was eager to get in the business, and by whatever way. And, in a roundabout conversation, I think he probably asked, hey, you ever had an idea that you just didn't pursue, or whatever the conversation was. And so our initial idea was that we were going to buy a house and gut it and make it very bourbon-centric to where we could rent out to. There was a ton of social media groups, but they don't have brick and mortars. And so we were going to gut it, make it very bourbon-centric, rent it out to them, and do it again, rinse, repeat. I tell people that idea lasted about 12 minutes. I think we went and looked at one house, and we happened to pull in Norton Commons. Long story short, the agent kind of walked in front of the car, and we were like, hey, what do you know about this shell of a building? And she said, I know everything. I'm the agent on it. We talked to her. They pretty well hated the idea at first. I tell that. They just didn't quite get it, but nobody did.
Right.
That was the thing.
Well, there's nothing like it in Kentucky, in this
that was
region.
the part. We couldn't believe there was nothing like this in Louisville, Kentucky. I mean, we're Kentucky's known for bourbon, and there's all these great bars with these big collections around the country, and none in Louisville. There was a few that could kind of compete with that, but we wanted to be Louisville should have the best American whiskey bar, best bourbon bar in the world. It should. And it was well, that's what we're going to do.
Not only the best bourbon bar in the world, how did you want to make it exclusive and different that you thought, people are going to seek us out if we do this and this and this?
Sir, for one, I'll mention he can take service for sure. And when it came about that we were going to do food, we were like, well, we're going to do food really, really well. We didn't know initially that we were going to do food. We didn't know really if we were going to be a warming kitchen, Michael Crouch was available, and you got to, he's known around here. His food, he's been doing it for 25 years here, so that was a great fit. When he,
How did you go after him?
So a friend.
Well, we didn't. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
that's like a whole.
I was
Tim Laird.
I was gonna add to all that. Like, we were trying to find our identity when we were kind of like creating the space and like who we were gonna be. Michael didn't come to us until we were halfway through construction. So like, we didn't have this vision of what we have today initially. All that changed when we met Michael.
Sure.
Michael, we had an interview with Michael. It was very casual. He's very much like us. He's very laid back, like whatever kind of, like we'll go, not laissez-faire, but risk prone, willing to take a risk. And he said, yeah.
And not freak out about it.
So when we interviewed him, we were like, yeah, there's no way
no, we didn't.
We were like, he is not,
take this.
he ain't going to do this. It's like, ain't no way. Like,
We're
we were
thinking
halfway
too
through
big.
construction. We didn't really have a kitchen that was befitting a real chef and real food. And he called us a couple days later. He's like, so we were like, are you all interested in me, and all this? And we were like, well, yeah, but we figured there was just, that ain't going to happen. He was like, no, I'm in if you want me. So we were like, okay.
I think he looked
that
at
changes everything.
He looked at it as a challenge. He thought we were just completely off our rockers to do an American whiskey bar. And that's it, with wine, with a great wine selection. But he was just like, I've got to be involved. It's the silliest thing I've ever heard. And so it was cool. I mean, he fits right in with us.
Right.
So so then we built a second kitchen to accommodate him. Like, after we finished construction, we started construction again and built another a second kitchen to actually something he could work in. It's still too small, but we got what we could get at the time, and that's kind of when the vision changed from just being a great whiskey bar to being a great restaurant with full service. Like, it had to be, what it is today.
Yeah.
All that kind of changed when Michael came on board. Yeah.
Well, and two, you have that centerpiece is where you display a lot of. You have that ladder that kind of. How did that come together? That kind of that key.
Oh, we
visual?
wanted that. We wanted
you
all that
walk
from the
in
beginning.
And it's like that's something that you see on social. That's something that everybody's going to want to take a picture of when they come in. That is something that is reshared, I think, again and again. It's one of the most
very
iconic
Instagrammable.
visuals of your location.
It's dinner and a show. If you said
It
at the
is
bar,
a show, yeah.
And we wanted it to be a show. We wanted that to be the attraction of we call them whiskey hustlers as opposed to barbacks, but the guys that were pulling the whiskey off the shelves that had to be organized to where there's 2,400 bottles. They got to be able to find it quickly. We've done several demonstrations where we have an audience member pull a random, whiskey off the menu, and we time how long it takes them to get it poured and at their table. And we were doing it 2 minutes.
Yeah, we've done it in about 2 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah, so it had
You
to
weren't
be
kidding
that.
it's a show.
Yeah,
right?
it
You're
needed
not
to be a
kidding,
show.
yeah.
So the ladder was just part of it.
This has a lot of Vegas going on in it. Right? It does. It becomes very Vegas-y.
It's very entertaining if
Yeah.
you sit at the bar.
If you do sit at the bar, it is entertaining you hear that rumble going up the ladder, and you look up and you realize how,
Yeah.
better them than me.
So
Yeah.
you pull in, what, more than 2,400.
Right around there.
American
2,400 different
whiskeys.
expressions. Yeah.
You pull in Michael. You pull in a build out on the kitchen. You're doing this right after COVID.
Well, we built it during COVID.
During COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, the chances of just a bar making it or just a restaurant making it right after COVID, that's when many went out of business.
It was silly.
You all
was
just kept, there was fuel to this fire. And it kept going and gaining.
Scared determination.
Yeah.
Right?
If there's such a
Yeah.
word. And it's staff. I've done interviews before, and I'll forget until to say something. I don't usually forget, but it's at the end. But it's our staff. We have I GM'd it for the first year, and I tell everybody's glad that year is over. They just are. I wasn't suited for it. I was better suited for what I do now. And along with Michael, we have Bev, who's been with us from day one when our meetings were taking place at Zeg's because we didn't have a brick and mortar. And we were hashing this idea, and Bev would just look at us sometimes and going, I can't believe I'm with you guys because she just did. It was just such a out of the ordinary. And she's been with us from the start.
Well, she came from Papa John's. She was like head of one of the top.
She was a big dog at Papa John's.
Papa
She didn't want to
John's
make the move to Atlanta.
marketing, and when they left to Atlanta, she became available, and it was definitely different for her too.
Yeah, and so just her being with us from the start, and then little over 2 years ago, getting Chris Ballou as our general manager. Everything just changed with all them. It changed with Michael. It changed when Bev stuck with us and we started doing events, and she was so good at doing that. And then, Josh and I just kind of realized, hey, we need to keep putting good people, and it's going to make us look really good.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the James Beard has a whole lot to do with Josh and I.
Not really.
It was our vision, and that will always have, but this is about Bev and Michael and Chris Ballou and all of the other. My son Jackson is our floor manager. It's all about them, and
because they're executing.
They're doing what we have asked them, and they knew our vision.
Yeah,
because we have a servant mentality. We always have.
Did you set out to make it like bigger than some of the other bourbon bars you've been to around the country? What were some that you looked at and you're like, I want to be that, and I want to be bigger?
Well, we went to
Jack Rose.
He went to Jack Rose. I didn't go to Jack Rose. We went to.
But they were always on the radar of like this big bourbon and whiskey bar, and it was like we didn't necessarily set out to like be better than them, but we wanted to be mentioned with them. That was because it's like we wanted to bring like the best bourbon and whiskey bar shouldn't be in Washington D.C.
No,
it should be in Louisville, Kentucky. Right. So it's like when the best bars in the world are mentioned, we want to be on that list. We didn't really figure like. We don't have dreams of beating anybody. It's just we want to be, part of the conversation. So
we went to one in San Fran, and it wasn't really any competition. It was a cool spot. It was really big, and then we did end up at Multnomah Whiskey Library in Portland, Oregon, and Ed Hudson owns that, and he's become a friend of ours. We blatantly stole some of his ideas. It's so funny when he comes into town.
He's probably totally flattered that
he loves it. Yeah, he brings his staff here once or twice a year. They do barrel picks, and so he's always, around, and we've picked his brain over the years. He's just a really good dude. His place is a lot smaller than ours, but a lot of the aesthetic is close.
Yeah.
They don't have barrels.
The vibe's the same. Vibes we wanted, like, we were like, if we can create that vibe, we'll be successful.
Oh, man, his vibe is so cool. It's really cool. If you ever get a chance.
Well, let's pause for a break right here because you've kind of woven into things, the events, the festivals, a podcast. Like, you're not just sitting back going, all right, we did it. More to come. More to come. Stay with us. I grew up in a Ford family. My dad worked at the Louisville Ford assembly plant. And it wasn't just a brand for us, it was a way of life. And that's the thing about Ford, is that they're woven into a part of our culture here in Kentucky and across America. So no matter where life's adventures may take you, Town & Country Ford is along for the ride. Welcome back. I'm sitting down with Josh and Tommy. They are the co-owners of Watchill Proper, and Watchill Proper just snagged one of the biggest gets of all time, James Beard semifinalist. I love that you all say that you knew that's what you wanted. Like, nothing in your origin story is about, we're just going to do this and it's going to be all right. Like, you set your sights. We're going to be the biggest. We're going to have the largest collection. We're going to have a James Beard semifinalist nomination. Like, tell me about like why that mentality of speaking everything into existence like works for you, that you set the things, and other people may look at that and go, those guys with their crazy dreams. But
most everybody did, including our wives.
Yeah, including
our
wives.
But like, crazy dream setting worked for you guys. How?
I can answer that. So I think there's two things. One, it's kind of my mentality with any business is you can weather the highs and lows of the economy if you're the best. because that doesn't affect the best, right? So the ones who are kind of on the fringe of succeeding and not, barely succeeding, when people quit going out to eat or when money gets tight, those places suffer.
Yep.
But the people, like if you're the best and you're the one that everybody wants to go out to eat, the place they want to visit, even when money's tight, they figure out a way to go.
You become my special place that I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you know what?
So
This week was all right. I want to go celebrate. I want to go to Watchill Park.
I just never figured on, if you're going to do something, you might as well do it the best you can and be the best at it. So that was kind of like built in. But the second part of it was, and this kind of came early on from some of the early staff that we had on board, some of our early managers, and we kind of bought into that vision of we wanted to change the industry when it comes to the service industry being treated as a professional and not just something a high school kid or a college kid does part-time. So we set out from day one when we didn't have any money and we were funding this thing by our bootstraps with paying all of our staff, giving them 401k matches, giving them health insurance, treating them like professionals. And so in return, expecting them to be professionals. But we also wanted to kind of change the industry in that our vision was maybe 5, 10, 15 years down the road after we open, everybody's doing what we're doing. Well, if you're a service professional and this is your full-time job and you're a 40-year-old mom, with kids at home, you should be able to support your family doing this job. And that means that you're going to get a good pay, you're going to get a 401k, you're going to get health insurance, and all these things that real professionals have, you'll have as well. And so we figured, hey, if we're the best and people notice us and they see our success and the way that we built it by paying these people this way, we have low turnover. We have more application. We don't even put ads out. Everybody wants to work there, because we're the best. And so we treat our service, if you're part of our team, you get treated like a professional. We expect that from you, but in turn, hopefully that if you leave us, it's not because you're going to go work somewhere parallel. You're going next level, right? You're going to end up like if you leave us to go work somewhere else, it's because you're going to be a brand ambassador for a distillery, or you're going to be this or this, whatever it is that you're wanting to do to better yourself and move up in the industry.
Which is what you want. You want to say, you know what, that person started with us. You want them to go on to bigger and better.
We
if that
wanted
happens,
to be
right?
that,
and they're learning from you all. And I mean, you're mentioning key people that worked at Papa John's, and to have the chef that you do, they're working with the best of the best.
Right. And we wanted like when, say they work for us for 2 or 3 years and they put in an application to be a brand ambassador or such and such for a distillery or whatever it is, that when they see that on their resume, that when they work for us, that's a stepping stone, right? It's a positive, not that they worked for some dive bar somewhere, just to pass the time. Like they got really good educational experience for their next job by working for us.
We've had 2 chiropractors that just wanted to work there, and
What?
and 3 PhDs that continued to work there after. We did. Yeah, and he would still be here, except he took a big job. He moved to Georgia.
Yeah.
To start practice.
Got to take that job. Yeah.
Practice. Yeah.
Unreal.
And he was awesome. He was a whiskey hustler.
But we do have,
he loved it.
but we also have other employees who were just in the service industry who've gone on to work for brands.
Sure. Absolutely.
And and they're very successful at it.
That was the point. That was the point.
It blows my mind that you've only been doing this for 4 years, right? To leave this kind of a mark on other individuals, right? 4 years, 5 years?
3.5.
Almost
Stop
4.
it.
Before in April.
Before in April. So,
You're making us all feel like we're not doing anything,
No.
Oh my God.
It is the way that the oldest adage is treat them the way that you want to be treated. If there's ever anything that is nail on the head, that's it. That's it. You can ask our staff, and not tooting our horns, they'll never work for anybody like Josh and I. Never. Because we don't micromanage. We know that they know more than we do on certain things. So listen, we still say no. We have to sometimes. But we have people in place to where they just are better at it than what we would. Perfect example is Blue and me. I'm better suited touching tables and working on our whiskey rent and that type of thing. He's better suited. I was never a server. I don't know how to teach them. So I'm fine with giving that up and letting someone who knows how to do it better than I do.
Yeah.
It's no big deal for me.
Yeah, we give them a lot of not autonomy, but we give them a lot of, leash to change things, to rework things, to make things better. If they have an idea, if we're depending on who it's coming from, it's like, all right, well, let's give it a shot. Let's see if that's better.
Yeah.
And if the numbers prove out after doing this for a few months, then we'll stick with it. If not, we'll go back to our way.
Doing something right. Doing something right. This brings us to our sponsored segment by the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. They're getting ready to celebrate 35 years coming up this September 10th through the 13th. Is the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. Tickets go on sale in April. Go to kybourbonfestival.com to be first in line. I feel like you all have many celebrations, but in this one, we want to raise a glass to you. What would you raise a glass to this past year that maybe people don't realize that you're celebrating, that you say, man, this is an accolade that I want to repeat and I want to let everybody know about. I want to keep celebrating. We've already said James B. Beard. Beard.
I'll go first because it's so funny that we just finished up what we were talking about. That is the perfect example because the Kentucky Bourbon Festival is run by Randy Pressey and Stacy Pritchard.
Mm-hmm.
Stacy Pritchard started with us. She's the VP of the festival.
Stop it.
Yeah.
She started.
We pulled her from Heaven Hill.
Yeah. She was with us for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And she moved on to.
You gonna raise a glass to Stacy?
We love Stacy.
Raise a glass
We
to
love
Stacy.
Stacy. Stacy and I worked hand in hand.
Yeah.
We worked together at Heaven Hill, but we worked hand in hand over
about
there.
that?
We are so much better not working hand in hand over there. I love her to death. She's awesome.
But no, she's in her right spot. And that was, she got to use us as a stepping stone to get to that spot.
Absolutely.
See?
And she'll use KBF to go to the next
Yeah.
spot and so on and so forth. And that's what it's all about. Yeah. So
Yeah, and
that's a
KBF
good
is
point.
just really, gosh, when I went to the festival last year, I know you guys are doing like a version of your festival kind of in your way.
Mm-hmm.
How does the Kentucky Bourbon Festival help you all get people to this part of the state during that week? Do people seek you out?
Yeah, it's a busy
during
week.
That? Yeah.
Busy week, for sure.
Yeah, it's a busy week. It's a little bit, it could be busier, but it's in Bardstown, so
Mm-hmm.
there's trying to get people up here from Bardstown and doing events that kind of pair with the festival is difficult because we're so far removed. But we went down there last year. We hope to be a big part of it this year. But yeah, it's always, anytime you get these types of event, like basically from middle of August to the end of October,
It's crazy for
we're
you
pretty
guys,
busy
right?
and we get a lot of attention as well, just because, people who know who we are come visit us while they're in town
Yeah.
doing
And
those
there's
other
nothing like
things.
the Bourbon Festival.
Something else, man. People from all over the world,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's a great event.
It's a great event.
Well, one event that's really catching kind of word of mouth and fire is the American Whiskey Festival. You guys going to do that again this year?
We think so.
Okay.
We're looking for some
I felt some
sponsors.
hesitation
Yeah.
there. I think so.
We do.
I
We
think
are
so.
for the first time kind of seek out some sponsorships and
Cool,
that type
yeah.
of thing. But I think we'll pull it off.
Yeah. Well, it's a different thing. It gives us
Yeah.
something to do in August.
Yeah.
Middle of
So you're-
August.
yeah.
Yeah. Tentatively, August 16th, I think.
so. I think that's what we're
Saturday,
doing.
that
Yeah.
middle Saturday.
Blazing hot drinking bourbon.
It
Yeah.
is blazing hot.
Yeah.
How important has it been for you all to integrate festivals, events, to have some of the biggest names in bourbon stop by to do a talk?
Well,
watch
so
it
that's
proper?
kind of like more about our origin story and what our vision was. We wanted to be obviously the big distilleries, Heaven Hill, Buffalo Trace, all the big names, Jim Beam. They don't need our help to do much. They've kind of got their own marketing teams. But we wanted to be connected with them so that our staff could be connected with them and learn and do those types of things. But then the smaller distilleries, we really wanted to be kind of an amplifier for them. A lot of them don't have brick and mortars. A lot of them are out of state. A lot of them are in state. Nobody knows about them. So we wanted to try to bring them a little bit of attention. So if they're making good bourbon and making good whiskey, we wanted to be able to, believe in them, promote them, put them on our wall. We've had so many brand owners be like, I can't believe, that I can come in and see my bourbon on your shelf and things like that. And just try to get them some recognition, because if they're doing a good job, we want people to know about them.
Yeah.
And so, so that's been an important part of kind of who we are and what we do.
More to come on that, hopefully. And it sounds like you were telling me people are seeking you out because of this semifinalist nomination. Like
Little bit.
people that is a great way. I plan my trips around.
Yeah.
If I know restaurants in certain areas are nominated, I will seek them out.
Yeah, we had a couple.
That's cool.
Couples Saturday night.
I don't know how I feel about that because for so long we've been kind of like exceeding expectations. You know, people come in, it's a whiskey bar, whatever, you know, and then they leave and they're like, I did not expect what I got.
Right.
And now they're coming in like, oh, it's a James Beard semifinalist. And it's like, you know, and so now it's like, you know, how you exceed those expectations, you know, but we're
like, what do you do next?
I mean, it raises the bar for us, honestly. We tell our staff, and Tommy's been doing that pretty much daily, is like, look, we have this now. Like, there's no off days, you know, like anybody that comes in here, the expectations are up. So, you know, it's just, it's just, we have to keep raising the bar for our service
we didn't
standards.
talk about it so early on. You know, I relived those conversations now. I didn't think much of them until last Thursday. But we did talk about it because the Michelin star, and I know that there was maybe a restaurant or so, but this is just different. This is a whole different animal as far as service and that type of thing. So it is cool that it was something that Josh and I had talked about, and maybe even with Michael, and we're able to get it. That's cool, you know. And so we just got to keep going. I don't know what other ones there are out there, awards.
I have no doubt you'll get it. Whatever, Michelin.
We're just going to keep.
Well, Michelin's not in town yet.
They're not in town. They just launched the Great American South, where they did something, I think, in Charleston last.
I don't know that we won a Michelin, so we were never.
It's hard to
gonna chase that one,
right? Is that like a totally different lane?
Yeah,
a little bit.
And what I have told, like, I got the question that day, and since we were got the beard, is are you worried about, because they're going to come in, they'll test us, and I heard that they could either kind of secret shopper you or let you know or whatever, and it's like, I'm not at all. Because if
you're doing what you're doing every day,
we do it every day, and there's no difference between this person or this person. So, hopefully they don't spill a pitcher of water on the person or something. I mean, things happen, but I'm not worried about it.
But I do think, we've always had the mentality to keep trying every meeting that we have with our managers. What can we do to get better? What can we do to get better? Time. So we're going to open in March. At the end of March, we're going to open on Mondays. Like right now, we're only open Tuesday through Saturday. So we're going to open on Mondays to try to let more people in and have more business functions and private events and things on Mondays.
That's the first time that's been said out loud, by the way.
All right.
Yeah, but this doesn't air. By the time this airs, it'll be very public information.
Nobody knows yet.
Yeah. So
I love that you brought me a little bit of scoop.
Yeah, that's a little scoop.
Thank you.
But we just because we just feel like that's been a real big. We've been landlocked Tuesdays through Saturdays because it's a 5-day work week for everybody. We can keep one staff and everybody works 5 days, and we don't have to have any kind of like overlapping staff, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a 40-hour work week to work. When you add Mondays, now it's a 48-hour work week. So now we have to kind of have this, and it just is going to make us better for whatever comes next, whether that's adding a Sundays or whatever it might be, where we need to have like a lunch available and we just have to have this moving staff. It's going to challenge our kitchen managers and, Chris and Jackson, our front of house managers, to get better at, at scheduling and like keeping people happy and all that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Well, the staff's who I'm talking about, right? So because
happy staff
means
right. Good service.
So like that's, but I think, if we can get through that challenge of adding a Monday, I think we'll be better at, the rest of the week.
Yeah, I agree. Right. I would agree with that.
In the middle of all this, you all have a bourbon too. Right?
We have a brand. We're going to push a lot more this year. Yeah, we're going to come out with our flagship, our backbone, I guess, evergreen, whatever you want to call it. That's kind of the everyday expression that'll always be on the shelf and available. And we hope to take. Yeah, I mean, we are going to go national this year. Nice. So, like right now, everything that we make is generally just local pickup. You buy it in our restaurant. So we've got a partnership we'll announce here pretty soon that allows us to go national and ship direct to consumer.
Is that the way to go? The ship direct to consumer?
It's
Are
different.
people just trying to navigate things in a different way where you can, because I mean, it's a weird time in the bourbon industry.
I mean, there's two ways you can go. You can try to be on the shelf at like Kroger's and Sam's and those types of retail
then
stores.
you have to give a cut to.
And there's a big distribution, Upstart and things like that, or you can go direct to consumer. And for our little brand, we just have very small expectations for it. And I just think like we're not ready for big distribution and trying to get into the retail stores and things like that. So for us, it's a good fit.
Fit for sure.
I sense a pattern here. So like during COVID, you decide to open a bar restaurant. In the middle of kind of a downturn in bourbon, let's launch a brand. I see something. I do. Let's do it.
Maybe.
Right, but you're doing it.
I never really thought of it like that.
But there, another crazy idea.
Yeah, I'm on an island with my opinion on the bourbon. I think the numbers do show it a little bit, but I think bourbon's just fine. I mean, you can't compare where we are now with COVID numbers.
No.
Everybody stayed at home. Everybody, went to the liquor store, took it home.
It was a different environment.
It was a
we were
different
consuming
environment.
everything differently during that
but
time.
you made so many new bourbon drinkers. They're not just going to quit. They're not just going to quit drinking bourbon. Well, it's a downturn, so we got to go back to vodka. No, it's not going to happen. So I think we're small,
Yeah, we don't have big expectations, but we just want to try to like get them to quit drinking their bourbon and start drinking ours.
Well,
That's the only
bourbon's
shift.
good.
A
Our bourbon
nice
is good.
everyday expression, right? You're not
Yeah.
asking somebody to spend hundreds and hundreds of
Yeah.
dollars.
No,
This is
it'll
a nice
be-
everyday, approachable bourbon.
Double
This could be for the
digits.
casual drinker.
And we have a couple different shades. We have one that's
Yeah, we have an expensive one.
We have an expensive one, exceptional. We've had 3 releases over the last 2.5 years, and it's expensive, but it's just the yield's
unicorn.
very, very low yield.
Yeah,
So.
but the everyday is going to be delicious, and it's something. And it kind of got born out of our bar staff wanting something that's kind of that they can use in our cocktails. So we've kind of tailor made the formula to kind of fit our cocktail program, and then we're just gonna not mass produce it, but produce enough to have hopefully people who want access to it.
It's your go-to.
Be able to get it. So it'll be our go-to bar, or our I guess our well.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it.
Yeah.
That'll be our well bourbon.
So my final question for you both is, what is the best bet that you've ever taken on yourself? The crazy turn that you made. I'm going back to the bleachers of you two. I could just get a picture of you two guys sitting at a baseball game talking about these ideas. Was it that moment of, hey, let's do this?
I still don't know that I say it was the good
No,
bet
you
yet.
know what? And not being sappy or corny, or because he's sitting next to me, is I was pretty content at Heaven Hill. I was more than content. He kept saying this is this, and then I would be signing something else. So I did this today, and I was kind of like, and it was so funny. I would tell the wife, and I was like, yeah, I think he's serious about this. And so, to be honest on him, because listen, I'm very content in Heaven Hill, but this is like dream stuff. I go in there, I'm the first one in every morning for the most part. And 4 days out of the 5 that I'm there, or 4 days out of the 6, I sit in a chair at 7:00 in the morning and I drink my coffee and I look and I go, what? I do it all the time.
Yeah.
So I mean,
He was a bet worth taking.
He was, and listen, we have plenty of side eye each other all the time, but he was. I mean, he was serious and determined. I have learned a lot from that. That's something that I may have lacked a little bit. He doesn't. Pretty well, if it comes out of his mouth, it's probably gonna come true, or he's gonna try to make
You're
it
bringing
happen.
everything into reality. Yeah.
Yeah, we work very good together. I mean, I could see in Tommy from the beginning, just kind of he's everything I'm not. You know what I mean? Very outgoing,
That's
very
why you guys
easy.
work so well together.
He's very personable. He's very entertaining, and he works really well in front of people. I don't come around much. I don't. I'm okay to talk to one-on-one, but I'm not much on entertainment. So. but that part's, you know, we work really well together. And so it's definitely worked out, and we still like each other.
Yeah,
After
which is
4
cool.
years. Because there was plenty of
That's
days where my wife,
amazing, right?
plenty of days where she's like, you talk to him more than me, like on a regular basis, you know, because
My
we
wife said the
did.
same thing.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's been a really good partnership. And like I said, I don't know that I'm ready to say that you know, it was the best bet, you know, starting this thing, but we're getting there. I mean, if we keep climbing, it's going to do fine. And really, more than anything, like I was not looking to get a lot of money out of this. Like that's never been the end goal, is to like be super wealthy because we started this thing. I've got my other company that does just fine. Mm-hmm. It's really been more about the staff. And like we tell our staff all the time, like we want this to be successful so that you can be a beneficiary, not so much us, you know, because like I said, if I just get my money back, I'm fine. Like, that's really my end goal. Is like, can I just get back to zero? I'll be in good shape.
That's right.
But we really want to reward all the staff that's made Watchill Proper what it is.
True.
And you know, if we're successful, then we'll be able to monetarily reward them even more than we're able to right now.
Very true.
And so like, that's ultimately my end goal.
I'll go with what he.
Yeah.
That's mine too.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Josh and Tommy, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much for watching the podcast. No matter where you're watching this right now, please leave a review, because that gets the word out about this particular podcast. So until next week, have a good one, everybody. Cheers.